What if I told you that a Mexican mechanic built a Volkswagen Beetle engine that produced 200 horsepower without turbos, without nitrous, naturally aspirated, from an air-cooled flat 4, that Volkswagen insisted couldn't reliably produce more than 50? This is the story of Carlos Gonzalez, the VW dealer mechanic who proved Germany's finest engineers wrong and created one of the most legendary sleeper engines in automotive history. Picture this. It's 1968 in Mexico City. A bright yellow Volkswagen Beetle pulls up to the drag strip. The competition laughs. Stock Beetles run 18-second quarter miles on a good day. The tree turns green. The little Beetle launches hard, front wheels lifting off the ground. 12.8 seconds later, it crosses the finish line at 108 miles per hour. The crowd goes silent. That's physically impossible for a Beetle, but Carlos Gonzalez just made it happen. The Volkswagen Beetle's air-cooled flat 4 engine was a marvel of simplicity. Ferdinand Porsche designed it in the 1930s to be cheap, reliable, and easy to fix. By 1968, the largest factory version displaced 1,600 cubic centimeters and produced a modest 57 horsepower. Volkswagen engineers in Wolfsburg had calculated the absolute limits of the design. The magnesium crankcase couldn't handle more than 1,800 cubic centimeters without cracking. Cooling fins couldn't dissipate heat from more than 100 horsepower. Push past those limits, and molten aluminum would replace your pistons. Carlos Gonzalez worked as a senior mechanic at Volkswagen's main dealership in Mexico City. By day, he serviced Beetles for middle-class families. By night, he studied every component of Porsche's design, searching for hidden potential. Gonzalez had been racing Beetles since 1965, and he was frustrated with the engine's limitations. While American muscle cars were pushing 400 horsepower from their big blocks, the best Beetle builders struggled to extract 80 horsepower from tiny flat 4s. Conventional wisdom among VW tuners was clear. Bore the cylinders from 85.5 mm to 88 mm. Polish the heads, upgrade the camshaft, maybe add dual carburetors. Do everything right, and you might see 75 to 80 horsepower. Go further, and the engine would overheat within minutes. Cylinder head temperatures would spike past 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Exhaust valves would glow cherry red, pistons would seize. But Gonzalez noticed something important. The crankcase itself was overbuilt. Volkswagen had used the same basic case design from 1,100 cubic centimeters all the way up to 1,600 cubic centimeters. The main bearing saddles were massive. Case walls were thick magnesium alloy. There was room for a longer stroke crankshaft if someone could figure out how to make one. The stock VW crankshaft had a 69 mm stroke. Connecting rod journals were offset 34.5 mm from the main bearing centerline. Gonzalez calculated he could increase the stroke to 82 mm, a full 13 mm longer, without the rods hitting the case. Combined with 92 mm pistons and cylinders, this yielded 2,180 cubic centimeters of displacement. Problem: nobody made a stroker crankshaft for the VW Flat 4. The aftermarket didn't believe it was possible. Gonzalez decided to make his own. Working with a local machine shop specializing in agricultural equipment, he designed a billet steel crankshaft with an 82 mm stroke. It took 6 months and 14 prototypes before they got it right. Next came cylinders and pistons. Stock VW cylinders were 85.5 mm bore. He bored them to 92 mm. He added 36 cooling fins per cylinder instead of the stock 24. Pistons were forged aluminum with compression heights shortened 6 mm. Cylinder heads got the full treatment. Intake ports enlarged from 28 mm to 35 mm. Exhaust ports from 25 mm to 32 mm. Valves custom. Intake 42 mm. Exhaust 37.5 mm. Valve springs were dual units from a Porsche 911 with 120 pounds on the seat, 280 pounds at full lift. The camshaft, a custom billet piece, lift 0.560 inches on intake and exhaust. Duration 296 degrees at 0.050 lift. Lobe separation 108 degrees. Rocker arm ratio corrected to 1.4 to 1, giving a cam lift of 0.784 inches. The first complete 2,300 cubic centimeter engine fired up in March 1969. On the dyno, it produced 168 horsepower at 6,800 RPM. 3 months later, tuned. It hit 203 horsepower at 7,200 RPM and 176 pound-feet of torque at 5,500 RPM. Compare that to stock. A 1,600 cubic centimeter Beetle made 57 horsepower and 82 pound-feet of torque. Gonzalez had quadrupled the horsepower and more than doubled the torque. Volkswagen's reaction: Denial. Their engineers insisted the modifications were impossible and unsafe. Carlos invited them to a test. He drove a 1967 Beetle with the 2,300 cubic centimeter engine, 800 miles round trip from Mexico City to Acapulco. The engine survived flawlessly. Bearings normal, heads never exceeded 380 degrees Fahrenheit. The Germans left speechless. Gonzalez's reputation spread. Racers lined up. A complete stroker kit cost 45,000 pesos, about $3,600 in 1970, when a new Beetle cost $1,800. Customers didn't care. They were winning races. Famous Beetles powered by Gonzalez engines include Miguel Santana's 1963 sedan, painted flat black, nicknamed La Cucaracha Negra. It ran consistent 12.8 second quarter miles at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Gonzalez didn't stop at naturally aspirated engines. In 1971, he experimented with forced induction, adapting a GMC 271 supercharger from a diesel bus. With 8 pounds per square inch of boost, the engine produced 315 horsepower. That's more than a Corvette 350 or a Porsche 911 from an engine Volkswagen claimed could never exceed 100 horsepower. Gonzalez stroker kits went worldwide. American VW tuners embraced them. By 1973, kits arrived in California. Gene Berg, a legendary tuner, built one producing 198 horsepower at 7,100 RPM. He immediately ordered 10 more kits. Gonzalez never patented his designs. Knowledge should be free, he said. By 1975, American companies were producing stroker cranks based on his specs. The 82mm stroke became the standard for serious VW performance engines. His designs influenced racing, road cars, and aircraft engines. Special aircraft stroker engines derated to 125 horsepower powered home-built airplanes reliably, even climbing 1,200 feet per minute. Prototypes flew 8,000 miles without engine maintenance beyond oil changes. In 1979, a racer named Juan Pablo Montoya's father built a twin-engine Beetle dragster, outputting 640 horsepower, running 8.7 seconds at 154 miles per hour. By 1983, Gonzalez developed a mild 2,100 cubic centimeter stroker kit for street drivers, producing 110 horsepower on regular gas, running 100,000 miles between rebuilds. By 1985, Mexibug Performance employed 42 people, generating 120 million pesos annually, producing 500 engines and 2,000 stroker kits per year. Volkswagen eventually hired Gonzalez as a consultant in 1986, acknowledging his insights. Today, at age 91, Carlos Gonzalez still lives in Mexico City. His legacy is not just horsepower, it's proving that ingenuity belongs to the curious, the persistent, and the fearless. The Volkswagen Beetle was the people's car. Carlos Gonzalez made it the people's race car, turning a humble economy car into a giant killer.